don't simply welcome new immigrants. We don't simply welcome new arrivals. We are born of immigrants. That is who we are.
Far more in common than that which divides us.
Be seen and speak of what they want to say.
My name is Jeff. My Chinese name is SHINWAI, and I'm born and raised in Hong Kong. I am a designer wannabe. I say that because I am still an intern after 3 years of working in the interior design industry, sadly, but I'm slowly getting there. I studied interior design in Milan, and then worked 2 years in Milan, and now I'm in London working in an interior design studio.
So can you tell a bit what moved you to come to Europe in general? What were the ideas?
One of the biggest thing is I'm from a very conservative family, and starting from when I was really young, I would say like 15 or 16, I knew I can't stay at home because my mom would never accept me entirely in a way because I like men. So I was thinking if I want to start my own life, I want to be true to myself, I have to go somewhere and start my own life. So I have decided to study in Milan, which I started to embrace myself, my sexual orientation. I met friends that don't mind about whoever I am, and they just like who I am basically. So that's the biggest reason I would say for me to move away from home and come to Europe.
And what was so now you're in London, so you've built like this whole structure that you are abroad. Sometimes you even say that you are more European at heart. Sometimes what does it mean really?
That was the thing I tell you probably 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
And I basically changed my mind because there's nothing called European or Asian, because you can find all sorts of people everywhere basically. You can find very conservative people in Europe too, which I didn't really know because as a person growing up in Asia, even though Hong Kong is very international, but we don't tend to meet international people every day. Even though we do, we don't really understand them very deeply. So the impression to me before I start a new life in Europe is that all Europeans are open-minded, and they're all very creative and very, just live their life. They don't really care what people think about them and things, which today, if you ask me, that is not really true. It depends on personality. It's not depends on nationality, basically. So I won't say I'm more European than Asian, but I would say I'm just me. I'm just a very open-minded individual trying to live my life, trying to be true to myself, and yeah.
That is very beautiful.
Oh yeah? Thank you.
Really?
Okay.
That is interesting because once in our conversations you were saying that back in Asia you had this impression of Europe, it was a fairy tale, and I don't know, but it just stick to me, this thing.
Yeah.
What can you speak a little bit about that?
Because what in Asia things is like Europe is always the hub of creativity, art, beautiful things, and because as you can tell in the design industry, most famous people, artists, they're all Europeans or Americans. So that was a conception or misconception for most Asian people, because that's the thing we're looking up to in the design industry. I remember when I was a kid, I told my mom I want to be an artist, I want to be a violin maker, I want to be like a creative person, but my mom said those are just for white people, which is totally ridiculous. But you can tell that's the thinking of most conservative Asian people who don't really know the world. They just live in their own small world and think those things is only suitable for white people, but not for us, for example, which is not true. We're all human beings. We got, everyone got the instinct to be love beautiful things and all those things. So, yeah.
Perfect. Beautiful. So how do you think? So now you're here, right? You're in London, which is a very multicultural city. How do you think you are perceived in general as an Asian people, even though you are a citizen of the world in yourself? How do you think you are perceived in general?
That's the thing. There's the thing special about London, because I don't even think that. I don't even think I'm an Asian, European, or whatever, because everyone is the same here. And that's the thing I love about this city. No one is surprised that you are an Asian working in a design studio, which I got a different experience in Milan, because when people see me as an Asian, they're surprised and they are trying to speak to me differently, or which is
What kind of differently?
just they will always treat you as a foreigner. But here, everyone can be a Londoner, but that's the good thing about London. Still, I don't know after Brexit, but for now it's just beautiful because everyone is the same. They don't really think, oh, you're an Asian artist or Asian designer, I don't really trust you, No, but everyone is the same. So yeah, that's the good thing about London.
Just to go a little bit back on your conversation, but you said that it was very easy for you to integrate in Florence, to have friends. How has been the experience overall for the 6 years that you've been here, like in Europe in general? Have you always managed to find your way?
Most of the time I would say yes, but of course there's sometimes, like Italy, you can find this conservative people asking me to go back home and all those stupid racist talks, but in general it's fine for me. I quite like my life, and I have a bunch of nice people surrounding me. I have good energy everywhere, and I got nice boss who think I can do good things, who trust in me. So in this 5-6 years, except not earning too much yeah. In general, I'm very happy with what I've been through.
And in which ways in your daily life do you keep in contact with Hong Kong in general?
My mom
If
and my
you do,
best friend,
because sometimes
and news basically, because I don't know if you heard about it, but we got very big problem with democracy and relationship with Chinese government and all those things. Those are the news that I just can't ignore them, because it's my hometown and I love it, even though I don't want to spend the rest of my life in that city, but still that's where I'm from, where my root is, and my friends are all, well, some of my friends are there, and my family's there, and that's the news. My friend and my parents are the only thing that I'm still attached to that city.
which traits of your personality do you think are maybe like from an Asian education, for example?
What do you mean?
Like in your personality, how does Hong Kong has shaped you in a sense? If this does make sense, if this does not make sense,
let me think. I would say,
because traveling has opened your
Yes.
horizons, right? Because, as you said, but you still grew up and took a lot of Hong Kong culture into you. And how do you think that manifests in you?
I would say to Hong Kong or even Chinese culture, it's like very deep culture, which I didn't really appreciate too much before. But after living here for 5-6 years, I start to learn how to cherish them, and how to really look at their beautiful side. that's it, I think. I don't know if I answer your question, but
Okay, but that's valid. It's
yeah,
valid.
I think most thing I got from Hong Kong, I would say that's the old me, which I always want to erase that from my life, basically, but not anymore, because I just want to embrace the whole, like, entire me now. And what I had before is like a low self-esteem person, but after traveling, living in Europe for a while, I just opened myself up. I become, well, I'm trying still, getting more confident, and yeah.
What do you think Europeans usually have? What's the idea of Europeans that have about Hong Kong?
We think
What do you think the Europeans do think about Hong Kong?
firstly, they just say it's a Chinese city, which I would never agree on.
Okay.
And I think they would think we're very international. Well, in some way, we're very much like London, but the thing is, local people don't really integrate with other culture because it's just not familiar for them. They would try to, but if it goes deeper, they would just get scared, and I'm just confused with my thoughts now. I just say, well, I think they think Hong Kong is a great city, good food, and most people can speak English, and it's the most international Asian city. And people don't really think about our politics because it's none of their business, which I understand, because as a foreigner in another country, for example, when I was living in Italy, I don't really care who the president is because it's none of my business. And yeah,
Okay.
they're just saying it's a nice city with good food, I would say.
Okay. Okay. I think you answered pretty much all of my questions.
Okay, good.
Yeah, if you want to develop something about your experience, because it's very quick actually. You're the quickest of all my interviewees.
Okay. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing.
It's a good thing. You are very like direct. Like you don't. Sometimes there's people I interview and they go like
Yeah.
they talk and they talk and they talk and they talk,
Okay.
and you are very into answering
I have nothing
the
to
question.
hide, so.
Good.
Well, yeah.
As me, if I can say that, like for example, some traits that I notice in you that are, I don't know if it's an Asian thing, but I think you are very precise in everything you do. Like you're very into the well-made, like, and everything has their own.
I don't think it's an Asian thing. Firstly, Asia has so many countries. For example,
Yeah, of
Japan
course,
is
of course,
famous
of
for
course,
their
of course.
precision and
Yes,
stuff,
yes,
and
yes.
China is basically very famous for their not precise side.
Okay.
But I think it's more a personal thing because I really think I'm born as an artist, and I'm a very responsible person because I think if I'm not doing that, nobody is going to. So I'm very scared of any mistakes or tiny thing
And don't
that
you think
I've
it's
missed.
a thing of education? Because here in Europe, one of the things we associate to education in Southeastern Asia in general is that school is very, very strict. It's very exigent, and that students have to work like really all the time. But this is a stereotype.
Yeah,
It's
which is
really
true.
a stereotype.
Which is true.
And sometimes even more than we do here in Europe. Obviously, every country has their own.
But I don't really
education
agree because
system.
the education system can be, it cannot shape a person that much. You can be very precise in your studies, but maybe your personal life is a mess.
Okay.
But I think responsibility is really the thing here because I've know a lot of people, even Europeans, Asian, whatever, they don't care. It's something, they don't think they are responsible for anything because they got paid so little or it's not their business or whatever. And I don't think it's right, because if everyone just do that, the world can't function anymore. So it's something I can't really undo as a responsible person, because it's in my blood basically.
You are also very sensitive to ecology and the environment.
I'm very sensitive. I'm very sensitive person.
Also by the environment and how we take care about like our environment, aren't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm just very desperate about where the world is going now, and about the environmental thing, which I'm trying not to, because it just makes me sad. But yeah, I really think it's responsibility, because people are just doing all this crap and shopping shit and all those things out of their, they don't really care. It's very selfish, and I think I'm not a selfish person.
What would you say would be a good step to go to get this kind of sensitiveness to the environment in general? I also sense in a way that you're traveling and your knowledge of the world, you've traveled around then Australia, right?
Australia, been to the Middle East,
Okay.
Asia,
Quite a-
traveled
yeah.
all, yeah. I've never
But
been to America.
I wonder if that kind of experiences makes a person sensitive also to the environment. Do you think it's the case, or
I really don't know, because for example, my mom, she doesn't care. She doesn't recycle. I'm always pissed about it. It's not in education, because my school never taught me how to recycle and how to love the environment, for example. I just don't know. If you ask me, like, I'm very fed up with big cities, for example, when I see a lot of people and they make a lot of trash and all those things, I just get angry and just feel bad about it. Traveling, it makes me even feel worse, because when I travel around the world, when I go to Milan or wherever, it's the same. It's just the same. People just buy whatever bad quality things is out there. They just throw rubbish like they don't need to pay for it, which they don't. And I just feel the world is doomed basically after traveling, because it's the same everywhere.
so? What would you say, for example, to a young Hong Kongese or any other nationality?
I would just say be yourself. There's nothing about being European is more. I just think it's so stupid to say white people are better in this and they're better in creativity, while Asian has to do all the accounting job or whatever. There's no stereotype in this world. Come on. So you just have to be true to yourself, whatever you like.
How do you do that? How did you do this also?
Just different people have a different way. I choose to live in another city. I choose to start a new life somewhere else. Try to do the best of myself. Try to, for example, if I'm concerned about the environmental problem, I just starting from myself. I just don't use any the bad products that is harmful to the environment, and just be the best of yourself, I think. If you really believe you, a tiny individual, can change the world, just start from yourself, and then you can spread to your friends, even though they're very stubborn. One day, they will change. My mom is changing too.
Really?
Yeah.
What? How?
She's recycling.
Really?
I don't know if she's only doing that when I'm home, but but at least she's scared of me. Yeah, that's a step to go. Just one big step for her.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.